Hi everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Juan, I am Just One Reader, and you are joining me for another recent reads video. Today I will be discussing books numbers 56, 57, and 58 that I have read so far in 2017. So starting out with a series of unfortunate events, book 11, The Green Grotto by Lemony Snicket. Rereading this series as an adult has been a very interesting experience, but it has been kind of a bumpy ride with ups and downs. There have been some books in this series that I've really enjoyed and that have made me laugh and learn a lot of new things, but there have been some other books like this one that have been very irritating. This is actually one that it's probably one of the books in the series that I have enjoyed the least. I gave it 3 stars because I still feel like giving it less than 3 stars wouldn't be fair for me, because I do have a lot of feelings invested in these characters and in this series and in this world, and in this author's writing, which I really love. But yeah, this is just not one of the good ones for me. I didn't really enjoy it very much. I found it incredibly irritating. There were 2 characters in here who are like the new characters that are introduced in here, who are the members of this kind of submarine crew, who I thought were incredibly irksome and irritating and obnoxious, and I just didn't like them. They were not like obnoxious, quirky, slash funny, slash endearing, like maybe Luna Lovegood could be, or talking about the same series, Aunt Josephine from book number 3, The White Window. She was very irritating and obnoxious and kind of pretentious and weird, and a grammar Nazi, but you really liked her. Whereas the characters in here, I just didn't like them at all, and I thought the reading experience was very irritating. So I am looking forward to finishing the series, but this was just not very good. So I gave it 3 stars. But everything's fine, because after that I read Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff, which I have made a separate review for, and I absolutely adored this book. I loved the writing, I loved the way that she explored the themes of marriage and identity, and how much the person that you are and the person who you want to be are the same thing or a different thing, and how much you can alter and change who you are and who you want to be, how that affects who you really actually are. And there are a lot of issues that this book explores beautifully, and it's a book that never makes you, or never tries to make the reader take sides. It's kind of really beautiful in that way, because it would be very easy to feel very strongly about a character, since we are following 2 characters who are married, and we see each other's point of view, we see each other's perspective or feelings and thoughts on their marriage and on the other person. So it would be very easy for the reader to feel like they have to take a side, but it's done so beautifully and so well that I never felt that myself, and I just thought Lauren Groff did a beautiful, excellent job. She's a writer that I am absolutely fascinated by, and I want to read everything that she has published. Also, she is just such a charismatic, warm, friendly, smart, an incredibly funny person. I just watch her interviews on YouTube, and she makes me feel joy. And she is just such a young, talented writer. And I really agree with everything that she has to say about identity and marriage in here. And on top of that, this was just such a delicacy. It was such a treat for people who enjoy language and who enjoy very literary references in the writing, for people who enjoy this kind of melodic, sort of wilting prose, very lyrical, yeah, the writing is just incredibly beautiful in here. So yeah, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It has some flaws, but I am absolutely willing to forget about those flaws because everything else I adored. And then the last book that I read, book number 58, is a book that I honestly didn't really like very much. And I'm kind of sorry that I didn't because I felt like this was a book that I really wanted to like and that I should have liked. And I kind of wanted to like it, and I almost forced myself to like it, but I just had to come to terms with the fact that this was just not for me, and that's fine because I cannot like everything. So this was Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman. This is a novel that inspired the movie that just came out with, I don't know who it is. Oh, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, this is a novel. It's quite short. It's like 250 pages long, and it is by Andre Aciman, and it has received quite a lot of acclaim. It was a New York Times Notable Book of 2007, a San Francisco Chronicle Notable Book of 2007, a Washington Post Best Fiction, Chicago Tribune Favorite Book, Seattle Times Favorite Book, and so on and so on and so on. And I really wanted to like it because it is a kind of LGBT, well, a gay novel, and it's about this young boy who is like 17 or 18, and he's living with his family in Italy, and he falls in love, head over heels in love with this older, like 24-year-old man who comes visit and stays in the house. He's they kind of run like a guest house in Italy, and so he's the new guest. So he spends a summer or something. He spends a big chunk of the year with them, and so the protagonist Ilio, he's the young boy, and he falls in love with this older man whose name is Oliver. And there were a lot of things in this book that I actually really enjoyed. There were a lot of things that I could relate to personally, and that I could really feel a strong emotional response towards, and I definitely felt that some things that he explored in here really resonated with me, and I really enjoyed this kind of almost suspenseful like tension that he builds between the characters, these two men, and like I said, it made me remember a lot of things that I went through, and that, you know, I think this is a very universal feeling, regardless of your sexual orientation or your sexual identity or your sexual history or whatever. I feel like it's something very universal to fall in love with someone and to develop, especially when you're young, when you're like 16, 17, 18, finding out who you are, and sometimes you fall in love with someone and you develop this like insane crushes over people that actually hurt, and there's like this very fine line. There's a fine line from Avenue Q. No? Anyone? Okay. So there's like a fine line between falling in love and hurt and pain, like physical pain, and sometimes it hurts like physically, and it invades everything. It invades your mind, it takes over your soul, your everything, and this book explores that really well, and like I said, I did enjoy those parts very much. However, the writing just didn't really work out for me. It's not particularly bad or good. It's not beautiful. It's not overly dry. I thought the story was kind of very boring, and the novel is quite short. It's 250 pages, and I felt like it could have been done in like 50 pages. So I thought there was just not a lot in here. There was not a lot of substance for me, and I just found myself really bored. And yeah, I just found this book incredibly dull, and uneventful, and I am not a reader who needs to have action and excitement in his books all the time. But yeah, this was just kind of very, it could have been 50 or 100 pages tops and it would have been much better. So yeah, I just found it kind of boring, and yeah, there were some very good things in here, like I said, but that was pretty much it, and the rest was just kind of fluff and not a lot of substance for me. Maybe this was just not the right book for me. So yeah, those were the three books that I wanted to wrap up today. Please let me know if you have read any of these three books. I would love to know what you think about them, particularly about Call Me By Your Name, because it's a book that I could sort of understand why people enjoy it so much, because it's a very well-loved book, but I just couldn't really love it. I gave it 2 stars in the end. And I feel kind of terribly guilty of giving it that bad rating, but I just couldn't give it a 3, because a 3 would mean that I actually liked it. And I'm not sure I liked it. I liked most of what was inside of it, at the core of it, but everything else, So yeah, let me know in the comments down below and we can have a conversation about these books. I am Just One Reader. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.